good, everybody? I got a new Hall Effect controller to review today. We're about to do an unboxing and I'm going to do some testing. So this is the Retrobit Sega Saturn Pro controller. And the only reason why I grabbed this, because, I'm always looking for something that might be cool to take with me on the go with my Steam Deck. But this supposedly, those sticks on that controller are actually Hall Effect. So let's get this open and do some testing, shall we? All right. So on the box, there's tape up here and up here. So we're just going to cut the tape off. All right, that's one side. That's the other side. And it should be just a simple slide. So I've never actually had any Retrobit products before, so this is the first for me. All right. So it's just a standard box. It says Sega Saturn. Slide out. There we are. Okay. So from here, we got a Retrobit. Thank you for your purchase. I like that. Documentation. I'll look at that later. So this thing comes with two dongles. It comes with a standard RF, and if you use this on an actual Sega Saturn, it has a dongle on a Sega Saturn. I'm wondering, just thinking out loud, if my brother still has a Sega Saturn. I don't know if it still works, but if it does, maybe I can get him to test this dongle. But I will be testing this dongle with this joystick. Now, wow, it does not want to come out the package. All right. There we go. So let's stand the box up a little bit. And y'all know me, I always like to check underneath the box because sometimes you can find little goodies underneath. Like so. So, charge cable. So there you go. And that's it for the box. Okay, so charges through standard USB-C. I got plenty of USB-C cables, but I want to open this up because I want to see how long the USB-C cable is. Because you know me, a lot of times they give you like a 6-foot or a 3-foot cable, but if you're gaming and you want to keep gaming on the go, you want kind of like a 10-foot cable. Okay, this is a decent cable, so I like that. So they give you a decent length cable. So there you go, if you can see that. Now let's get the shrink wrap off the top of this. So I don't know what made Retrobit decide to make a Pro Sega Saturn controller and have both dongles for it, which is kind of cool actually. Wish my Sega I still have my Sega Saturn. Actually, I think the Sega Saturn that my brother has is actually my old Sega Saturn, but it is what it is. But I want to take a look at, oh wow, those buttons. Man, blast to the past, those buttons. They feel good too. And this has triggers. All right, so one thing, those triggers are not bad. Very, very noisy. Everything. I don't know how I feel about the top triggers. So the bottom triggers feel good. The top triggers feel like might need a little bit more. They're kind of tight. They feel like they need a little bit more give, but that's okay. Oh, wow. And yeah, that's a Sega Saturn D-pad. Okay. And we got extra home select start buttons. Okay. Even though they say this is Hall effect, let me see if I can get this on camera. You see, those sticks are not that long. So, and they feel like they don't got magnets. You know, I can tell there from the pull test they have magnets. But let's go ahead and take this to the lab and we're gonna do D-pad tests, analog tests, and also, gamepad tester let's check the dead zones and everything on the controller. All right. This Saturn Pro controller, the D-pad on it is actually really good. I did both the Contra test, learning from Retro Game Corps, and you know me, I'm gonna do fighting games anyway, and it tested pretty well. The sticks, on the other hand, I have a little bit of an issue with. As I showed earlier, these things are nubs. Yes, yes, these sticks are Hall effect sticks, as you'll see right now with the gamepad tester footage. But since these are nubs, they're take a little bit extra to try to aim, as you can see me struggling playing Overwatch with this. Can it be done? Yes, but I would not recommend using these analog sticks for like games like Overwatch, like competitive shooters, and definitely certain first person shooters. Now, if you're doing a racing game or something like that, that is more ideal for these analog sticks. Basically, this controller is meant for retro gaming. That's really what it's for. Can you do some modern gaming on it? Yes, but I would not recommend it. Not unless you're keeping it to like platformers and fighting games and stuff like that. Stuff where you don't have to like crucially aim, put like, because you're gonna have a hard time with it. This controller, $49.99, and I don't know, like I like it for nostalgia because I owned a Sega Saturn, so like stuff like Marvel superheroes and all that stuff. I played on the Sega Saturn controller, so I love this 6-button layout. But I also have the 8-bit Do M30 right beside it, and it has a 6-button layout. But I will tell you something different about this one versus this one, and that is when you're setting it up, since you have the extra bumpers, when you're setting this up in a fighting game like Street Fighter 6, you do have to go in to set up that C button. This one's already set, but this one's not. You have to set it up, but it does take away from your triggers there. So I wish this had the ability to map all the buttons. So what ends up happening is you'll have like your triggers and you'll have all of the face buttons in the front, but you won't be able to use like the bumper buttons in the back. Is what it is. Some of you might think that's a downside, and then some of you might think that's an advantage. It's all depending on your play style. So I'm just letting you know what I found about this stick. The other thing about this stick that I don't know if I could really recommend is this does not set up the way it says in the instructions. So in the instructions, it says that the dongle is supposed to change colors once you go from like X input to D input. That is not the case in my experience. With me, the one that I had, the light, there's a little LED strip back here.
and it will light up green one. But if you want the other input, it will light up green two back here. It wasn't on my dongle at all. So I was a little upset about that. Trying to get this thing to work properly on both PC and Steam Deck. And I noticed while playing Street Fighter 5, this does work well with Street Fighter 5. But if you try to go for some more of a complex combo in the game, it doesn't lag out. It just acts like it can't handle the input if you're going a little too fast, and it kind of stops. And I also noticed that this is similar to my 8-bit Do controller, but opposite. So I have the problem with the 8-bit Do controller on my PC, and it works fine on the Steam Deck. This does the opposite. This works fine on my PC, but on the Steam Deck, once in a blue moon, and it only happened on Street Fighter 5. Once in a blue moon, it will cut off and then cut back on. It's like the Bluetooth signal is well, not Bluetooth, RF signal is having a problem, like connecting. I don't know what it is, but it is. Oh, and by the way, I know some of you are probably like, well, Breeze, let's connect it purely through USB-C. This is just like the M30 in the fact that you can plug it in to charge. You can't plug it in to use it. So this is a wireless controller only. Where, you know, if I'm like out and about somewhere and, I have these two controllers and I whip it out and, I got some friends that want to play some games and all that, that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. However, for longevity, I know some of us are like, well, you just like to have the option, like when it starts to die, you could plug it in and extend your gameplay. Unfortunately, you cannot do that with these. So, use case, use case. So, uh, would I recommend someone to buy this? If you're nostalgic like me and you had a Sega Saturn back in the day, or you like retro games and you want to have like a retro game controller for your games, then go ahead and get it. Now, I will say I cannot recommend it for the analog stick. Even though it is a Hall Effect controller, you know me and I love my Hall Effect controllers. These sticks, these little nubs are not ideal for pro gameplay. So this is not a pro controller. Putting it out there. Even though it says Sega Saturn Pro Controller, this is not a pro controller. No. It might be pro level for doing retro games, but if you're like, yo, I'm playing Apex, or yo, I'm getting down on some Call of Duty and stuff like that, no. This is not the controller for you. Just saying. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I like it for nostalgia. I don't like it if you're expecting something more the lines of the T4 Cyclone, because that's not what you're getting. You're getting a nice controller for retro gaming that just so happens to have Hall Effect nubs. Those are not sticks, they're nubs. So, and like I said, don't expect to do precision aiming with these. If you're playing like a race game or something like that, they're fine for that. You're not going to be using them for FPS. Simple as that. Alright guys, that's all for me. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. If you don't like it, I'm not going to hurt you. Until next time guys, peace, love, stay gaming my friends.